Big Virgin.
Well, I just got a question, but I don't want us to get off.
No, today's open out.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to hear you or somebody break this down. I know me and Joy was listening to something. I had never enjoyed, actually mentioned it a little earlier. I had never heard anybody or even interpret the breakdown that wheat and the tare, that parable that Yeshua gave. And I always had thought just the tares would just be the evil, like people that we knew actually is in open, sin, satanic, you know what I mean? And then you had to believe in people. But actually, when they broke that parable down, they were saying the wheat and the tare, when you look at it in the natural, they're indistinguishable. Like, so you cannot tell them apart until they reach full maturity. And in that full maturity, the wheat actually produces the fruit and the tare don't. So when Yeshua was actually saying that someone came and planted some bad seed when we went to sleep, but he let them grow together, who was he talking about? Because we know that if they look just alike, we're not talking about Satan, satanic people that skip open. Who are Yeshua talking about then, and who's he comparing it to? And saying we'll let them grow together, and then he's going to separate the wheat from the tare.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful. I hope y'all caught that. I hope y'all can catch all that. We're definitely going to put this on a playback. The wheat and the tare being alike and not distinguishable to the fruit is produced is you and I versus our family in Sunday church celebrating Christmas. Y'all fruit is dead. Y'all are a firework that doesn't go off. Y'all are done. We're producing fruit, righteous fruit. We're going out getting more fruit. This brother's raising his daughter in this truth. We're coming out of all the kind of addictions and spiritual attacks in this truth. We're seeing real fruit. Opposed to you Christians, y'all just keep getting caught up in more evilness. So that grace doctrine that y'all preaching is producing rotten fruit. That grace doctrine is satanic. And that's what we're going into today. Real quick, it ain't gonna take long. But I came across some information just trying to find that bridge with the Christians. I'm ear hustling on their platform. And I'm like, do y'all hear yourselves? Y'all keep telling me that y'all saved by faith through grace, and that Mosaic law was for Israel, but now through Christ, I don't need the Mosaic law because I got Christ. But y'all leaders keep getting caught up in scandal. And it's not a little bit of scandal. Y'all get caught up in stuff like y'all street niggas. I want to stay on the block if I'm going to go to your church. Because I don't care what you say. If you are a leader, I expect you to be above some things. But that grace doctrine, he knows my heart, and we all have sinned and come short of the glory, makes y'all cowards and whips in your church. You can't stand on nothing. Because that grace done, he knows my heart. All sin is sin. All sin is sin. How many heard that?
Yeah.
That's a lie from the pits of hell. All sin is not sin. Chef all of my notes. That's what reading.
And then you were saying like all sin is not evil. I think is what you think about too.
Let's go to Matthew 12. Let's go to Matthew 12, verse 25. Now we got to tone it down. We got Sister Renee in the building. We got a minor in the building. You know how her daddy do. You know? I'm gonna put a cap on it now. We got young Renee in the building. Let's go to Matthew 12 and 25. Shema, you have it?
Shema.
Make sure I pull the right one. You know, I'm victorious. Look like somebody's been feeding her, Chef. She got a little taller now.
Yeah.
Matthew 12 and 25. Shema, when you have it. Read.
And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought into desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand.
Every house divided against itself cannot stand. You're saying that you're working for Messiah, which you're going to say, because this is for Christians. We're going to say, y'all say y'all working for Christ. but y'all oppose everything Christ said. Your house is divided. The Black Christian church, you Negro Christian church, Apostolic, Kojic, Holiness, Pentecostal, all your alphabet church, y'all say y'all working for Christ, but y'all contradict Christ. Your house is divided, and now we're seeing your fruit. Y'all buildings are crumbling. Every week there's a new scandal. Every week there's a new scandal. So this is an article. How many remember a couple of weeks ago, the Christian pastor got robbed in his church by going live on Facebook Live service? Y'all remember that pastor? Then he went viral a couple of weeks later. This woman was in his church calling herself prophesying. And I guess he didn't like it, or he was ready to get into his powerful sermon. And he starts coming down to the woman and yokes the woman up and tells the deacons, get her off the church, get her out of the church. You're a man of God, and you put your hands on a woman. You don't have no self-control. You couldn't tell a sister, come get this woman. A man should never put his hands on a woman to inflict violence, unless the Most High tell you, like they told the evil woman who the dogs ate her flesh. But you should never put your hands on a woman. This man put his hands on a woman and says, get her out of here. The same man, him and his wife on Instagram in luxurious imported cars with furs on. This man has been caught in scandal.
Running with the law. He actually serves 5 years in prison after a conviction on identity theft. For these most recent charges, he faces the possibility of spending up to 20 years in prison. But again, the bishop says he's innocent. Mitch, Adrian.
All right, Dre, thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation.
Let me bring it back.
And he is being turned from a
Whitehead first gained national notoriety.
Continue to.
So he's been
has pleaded not guilty. He left the federal.
The devil's attacking.
For allegedly cheating a parishioner out of tens of thousands of dollars in retirement savings.
Pastor Lamore Whitehead's extravagant wardrobe and jewelry attracted armed gunmen to rob him on camera during a live stream service. Now he's the one accused of stealing. Dre Clark is in New York with that story. Good morning, Dre.
Good morning, Mitch and Adrian. Bishop Lamore Whitehead has pleaded not guilty. He left the federal courthouse here behind me yesterday after agreeing to pay a $500,000 bond securing his release. And the bishop says, despite being indicted on multiple federal charges, he will continue to preach the gospel. Meanwhile, his defense attorney says Whitehead is being targeted.
Lamore Whitehead, the self-proclaimed hip-hop bishop from Brooklyn, leaves federal court Monday after pleading not guilty to federal fraud charges. Dressed in Fendi and fatigues, the normally outspoken Whitehead was quiet as he was approached by a reporter from our News Nation affiliate WPIX who was there when he left the courtroom.
What will you say to your parishioners who support you?
Whitehead first gained national notoriety in July when masked gunmen robbed his church in the middle of Sunday morning service. The gunmen stole Whitehead's $1 million diamond chain along with other jewelry. Two of the gunmen were later arrested. Whitehead, who likes to brag about wearing name brand clothing, having millions in precious jewels and driving a Rolls Royce, says he's both a bishop and a real estate mogul who doesn't need his church's offerings to fund his life of luxury.
we feel that he is being targeted and he is being turned from a victim into a villain.
But federal prosecutors tell a different story. Monday, Whitehead was arrested. A federal indictment claims he induced one of his parishioners into investing $90,000 of her retirement savings with him, but investigators say he spent the money on luxury goods. The indictment also alleges he extorted a businessman out of more than $500,000, claiming he can secure political favors from New York City Hall. Whitehead's attorney denies all claims.
This is the man of God. This is the template of a man of God. Now, I'm not condemning him because he dubs himself a hip hop bishop. Because the hip hop I listen to and the hip hop I support is highly intelligent poets healing our people. But we all know hip hop as a whole, there's no kadash, there's no holiness. I remember my mom and them was like, Kirk Franklin, that's the music of the devil. We was all like, Mom, that's for the young folks, y'all. We don't want to be singing down at the cross. They moving. Now look at Kirk Franklin. There's no separation because this grace doctrine. How you got $1 million chain on and your church? Y'all seen the church in the hood?
That's what they said. That's what they
You got $1 million chain in your church in the hood. How you? I seen some of his little Instagram stuff people posted. You and your wife, she all want to be a Instagram star with wigs and weave and makeup and bosom out. This your broad. This your broad. This the first lady of the church. Church of Satan. Because there's no holiness, there's no law. This grace doctrine. This grace doctrine is causing this.
You want to say something? Come on, get you a mic, sis. Who thinks that Kirk Franklin's gay?
No, I will have to second that. Absolutely. So it's not true. Out of the mouth of babes. Out of the mouth of babes. Like Benaiah says, but wait, there's more. But wait, there's more.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I've seen this. Wait, there's more.
Happy birthday.
I know this dude.
Oh,
geez, I mean, six in the building. Y'all know him?
Mhm.
Y'all hear what's playing in the background? It wasn't down at the cross. Now, ain't not wrong with Marvin Gaye because most of us came from Marvin Gaye. So, like Al Green says, he says, you know, for years he didn't sing his secular music, but then he said the Most High told him, like, well, Al, I gave you songs and you're singing about love. So there's nothing wrong with singing about love. But love and lust and raunchiness is two different things. So if you're singing about love, there's nothing wrong with that. Black love, we definitely need black love after the transatlantic. So we don't, but this is the hip hop version. This is the sample. You got hip hop music blaring in the background. Now I come from an era where if the pastor coming, even if I done backslid and I'm in the world, if pastor pull up on me, I'll put my cigar down. To turn that down, pastor coming over here. Try to spray some cologne. That's how this respect we have for the, even if your family member, you know, don't rock like that. Hey, auntie, you know how she about, you know she about to go in. You're at a party, they don't got enough respect for you to play Christian music at the party. You would at least say, listen, Bishop came by to bless us to say grace. Don't play that. Y'all know how we pray when our elders, listen, like, keep it calm till mom leave. Keep it calm. You know, grandma don't want that loud music. And we all like, man, when grandma leave, a good grace in the morning, I'm ready to get my swerve on. We have respect for the elders. They ain't got enough respect for you. Hey, don't play no hip hop. Don't light nothing up. Don't pop no bottles until Bishop leaves.
Oh, he had fine.
Happy birthday to you. We love you, man.
No worries.
Smile.
That's why.
Now, if you was there, like, listen, I'm gonna come here, pray over y'all. I pray over the food, and then I'm gonna bid y'all. Hope y'all all repent for the sins y'all about to commit. You sit here comfortable, and it's more. You can go on YouTube. It's more images of him around the party, and his women dressed like hookers. You know how our sisters do, plastic wear all over the place, and he's in the midst of that. He's in the midst of it. Mighty T.D. Jakes, Booming Dar loose. Nigga, you can even get loose.
Virgin had something out.
I was just gonna say when he was just talking about enough respect, I know when first coming into this truth, I didn't really have an issue with like Jesus, I thought, you know what I mean? But they were just showing how all these different religions, whether it's Rome, Catholic, everybody is closing out a sermon in Jesus' name. In the name of Jesus. I'm like, wait a minute now, there's something that's up with that, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I thought we didn't have enough respect to call him by his correct name, but you can see all these other false religions are saying Jesus, then I'm like, wow, okay, now that's a totally different God. That's a totally different, you know what I mean? And they show all these people about to unify, yes, all these religions about to come together. And so they were from all different walks. They all was closing out. They even had this Muslim lady who's like saying some stuff about Jesus. But I was like, wow, that's crazy.
That coexist movement, those stickers, that's how they started. They've been grooming this for a minute. I mean, honestly, we don't coexist. No, we can't all coexist. No, we can't all coexist. You all right?
No, I'm good.
So they've been grooming to set people up for a long time. Now you got Islam. We're gonna mix every. No, the Most High said, "Be ye separate, be ye holy, because I'm holy." TD Jakes at P Diddy 53rd birthday party.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
They got the
Happy birthday to you. We love you, man. No worries.
Happy birthday, big brother. We love you. We appreciate.
I don't know who that is. Yeah.
He's at P. Diddy birthday party.
53rd birthday party.
Tyler.
Think it's a go?
This Tyler.
All of this is because this grace doctrine.
The fact is, 90% of hair loss cases in men are caused by scalp
All this
condition,
grace
which is
doctrine.
the consequence of one bad habit in daily routine. To check your scalp condition, just try to pinch the scalp. If you're able to pinch it as you can do to the skin on the back of the hand, then congratulations. Your scalp is totally healthy, and there's no risk to have male pattern baldness. But if it's not, that means your scalp is...
Go to the next. I don't need a So we started with a because I don't ads keep coming out too. This. So I don't want those Facebook ads keep YouTube ad keeps coming up. So we started with like a no name pastor. Then we went to Jakes, who was internationally known. And there's no Kadash going on. There's no Kadash going on because of grace. I gotta pull 2 more videos up.
Take your time, Pastor.
And they want to know why we make a big deal about the law, because y'all grace has run amok.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to our
that one last. He's so old, sis. He's so old news. I said he ain't even worth talking about. So he ain't even worth talking about. But there's another one. I don't know this one.
Pastor Dwayne Dawkins.
I don't know this one, but his madness is recent. This madness is recent. So the backstory is this pastor, Christian pastor, his name is Dwayne Dawkins, and he's been pastoring for 14 years. And he's married with 3 boys. He's married with 3 sons. he goes on OnlyFans, some new dating website. What is it?
It's a self-content website that people pretty much. So it's
Okay, I didn't know that.
yeah, like some people don't though. They changed originally when it came out. Pretty much, if just saying, if anybody wanted to start it, you could just start one, and people who like you can follow you and pay you a subscription. But majority of people use it to do like porn clips or naked pictures, women, all that stuff.
Well, I didn't know that. I thought it was a social site like Facebook or something.
People who pay you monthly, like a subscription, and they will be able to view your content.
Your exclusive content. And that's what I was telling him and Joyce. We was on the phone. There's this lady who let her she was a professional wrestler, let that go, chose to get fired to keep her OnlyFans because her OnlyFans basically was making more money than her job. And I told them that she charged them $30 a month. And in less than a month, she made $500,000. And we was using this because I was saying that these platforms are allowing women to do whatever they want to do, because you don't need a man if you could just go show a little bit of your body and somebody gonna pay you $30 a month, making $500,000 in less than 6 months. Then that's why the society is upside down. You see what I'm saying? Because like if we were in the olden times or ancient times, like we gotta work. So that helps keep things in order as far as what a man would do and what a woman would do. But if a woman to just make money, and no offense, because we know men can do it now too, but it more so affects the women, they can just go show a little something and make that much money, because you know there's a bunch of sickos out here, then that plays a part in just corrupting the society and what Satan wants and flipping everything upside down.
Wow. Right. So that makes it even more sick then, because this man, Dwayne, whoever, was a Christian pastor for 14 years at this church in Florida. He goes on this OnlyFans page and he engages not with a woman, he seeks out a man. This Christian pastor goes on OnlyFans not to seek out a woman behind his wife's back. He seeks out a man behind his wife's back. And she has 3 sons by this man. Because your church, your Christian church has no law. Don't have, he knows my heart. He knows I'm trying. Y'all build losers in the Christian church. Y'all built people, y'all train people to be second best. How many of you gonna send your child to school, go and get you a C today, son? Son, go in and knock that B out. No, son, you got A's in you, son. Son, you can do this. But in Christian church, with that grace doctrine, y'all breed losers. Y'all breed sin. And it's coming from the pulpit.
Everybody get a ribbon. A participation ribbon.
I didn't come for that. If you're on the bus at the last day of school, no ribbons, people, you lost. You don't get, hey, you tried. No, you ain't got no ribbons, you ain't got no gold. It's all right. Now everyone gets a ribbon. What you get one for? Well, I stood in line the longest. Hold up.
Yeah. They get a whole trophy.
Christianity, this satanic grace doctrine is breeding lawlessness.
Blessings to everybody.
That's him.
Thank you for the opportunity to be able to be in company with so many people who are willing to be vulnerable and to share.
He's talking now.
Mine is probably the most recent, I think, I'm not sure, but I had connected with an individual of the same gender, and I've had throughout my childhood up until even this moment, dealing with bisexual tendencies. Anointed, called of God, and all of that, but did not have an opportunity to really dig.
Did you hear what he just said?
He said he's anointed, called of God, and all of that, and he's still, what?
You see what Christianity breeds? How you been having bisexual tendencies as a child, but you were anointed and all of that?
But I feel like, I mean, Christianity, Jesus, the Jesus character is gay. So of course it's gonna be homosexuality in the Christian so-called church.
So I'm not
Everybody
learned.
is gay.
I'm not learned. So I ain't been to the cemetery, so and I don't want to put no words in your mouth. But are you saying that the spirit of homosexuality is coming from Jesus? Is permeating the leaders? Is that what you're saying? Lawlessness. Lawlessness. You may need a mic, sis, because your voice won't carry. The one next to you on? I know she ain't gonna reach up here.
No, it's not on. Hold on, we get to this one here.
Yeah, get her.
Oh, there you go.
So we were doing, we're learning constellations and the whole moon and things, whatnot. I have no interest. I'm surprised how you feel, but we're doing the constellations and I had to do a project, so I had to find a complaint. I care nothing about the zodiacs or whatever, but I did find what Aquarius is. I'm not looking for the stories, which the stories are like anyway. And I realized it's basically everything that actually happened in just Greek form and all their lives and whatnot. But then, as I was looking at one of the characters in the story, it said, what does his name stand for or whatever. It said like homosexuality to the Caesar desires. I was like, that would make a lot of sense, because how do you get kidnapped by Zeus? Because there's one story where he wants him as a son. There's another story where he makes him his lover. I said,
That's what they keeping the kids in school now.
And she's all in my notes because we're going there. Because your Jesus comes from the Greek culture. Your Jesus comes from the Greek culture. So this homosexuality is all through your religion. So she's all in my notes. And now, because your sweet Jesus forgives, and you don't read about the Jesus who is full of blood, you don't read about the Jesus who says kill them. Your pastors, your church got everything going on. This pastor says, I've been having bisexual tendencies since a child, anointed and appointed and all. How is that possible? How is that possible?
Into those issues and unpack them. No excuse to it, just what it is. I connected with an individual. It's what they call a sneaky link.
All right.
Yeah. And in that.
First, somebody in the audience says, okay.
But y'all hear that? What dropped in my spirit too, Morah? Why is he apologizing if it's no commandments?
How would you want to do? Right.
It's what they call a sneaky link.
All right.
Yeah. And in that.
This is a Christian symposium. We're laughing, but it's not funny. Our children and grandchildren are coming up in this mess. You got this man just telling you I've been having bisexual tendencies, anointed and appointed and all, and then I had a sneaky link, and someone says, okay. That's like me and you saying, I found my bride, and all those people say, that's what I'm saying, brother. You're promoting homosexuality, and someone's giving you, that's a boy. Go ahead, dog, you're doing it.
That's right.
Moment, he recorded it. I was aware of the recording. Prior to it was asked if he could record, and I thought it would be for his personal pleasure. So
Stuff like this. This is for like a conspiracy theory type. When it comes to especially like Hollywood, when these artists and entertainers want to go to like that next level of fame or fandoms, they have to do a type of sacrifice. And Samaria and Mariah can expound a little bit more on it just from their personal experiences. You know, trying to like put their foot in the door will be around and stuff like this. They will put it in front of you and say, hey, if you do this, we'll give you this. And at this point, you got a decision to make. Now, this guy right here, don't be surprised if he blows up and starts making all kinds of money, getting all kinds of deals. He might not be on TV like TV days. Write a book. Yeah, write a book.
You're right on the money. You're right on the money where this is going. Because, well, first of all, did y'all hear him say that he told me he was recording? He knew. But I thought it was for his personal use.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. Personal pleasure. It's horrible. We spend
Not that, listen, you can't record, bro, I'm married. Listen, bro, you can't record, I'm a pastor. I knew he was recording, but I thought it was for his private collection.
Good.
This is what Christianity is breeding. This is what lawlessness, your grace, saved by grace, this is what they're breeding. And just the cliff notes, he only sat down for a couple of weeks. He went back to teaching on YouTube, on Facebook, coaching. What you want to coach me about?
I was gonna say too, I'm in the prison and I know just knowing that we're behind enemy lines, but I take out hospital trips and we can like what we call a trip package and see where he's from, what he's done. And by far and large, it's my third prison. The demographic for pedophilia, child pornography and all that stuff is that white male. Most times it's an older white male. It's almost like every time I go out, I can look and before I even read this paper, I already know what he is. And I look at it, and that's exactly what it is. You know what I mean? And they get top price lawyers, and they get to Butler somewhere where they're safe, you know? But it's just crazy because I look at, you know, when we start looking into, you know, the script that they don't even want us touching, like even a prophet, you talk about that Maccabean period and stuff like that. How was being behind enemy lines, we really adopted a lot of ways of this pagan nation. You know what I mean? Things that are probably not even natural to us because we in this perverted nation, they even beating us this stuff. See, this man, I'm not that lifestyle, I don't offend at all, but you know, some of them be like, I thought this wasting the earth. They say they've been giving us so much soy, they keep pumping soy to the baby. It's giving them too much female estrogen. So this man actually think that he probably was from birth so predisposed to that lifestyle. But as soon as you come out the mother's womb, you're supposed to be drinking that breast milk, and they giving him soy, pumping his body up full of soy. So it's just, it's wicked. This nation is wicked.
It's gonna be death to Babylon. I mean, this man says I knew he was recording, but I thought it was for his personal use.
Speak. Again, I preface this all by saying it was not right, it was wrong, but that's where I was in that moment. I had to acknowledge where I was. Later on that same day, he posted it. He's a content creator. So this is someone who does this as their main or one of their sources of income or whatnot. I called him immediately when I was made aware of it and said, why did you do that? Please take it down. I didn't give consent for that, etc. He hung up on me. I called back and he had blocked me. That was the last I'd ever heard from him. That evening, you can imagine, I did not sleep. I have a wife and 3 beautiful sons.
That evening, I couldn't sleep. You couldn't sleep once it got exposed.
Yeah.
What about the night you went home?
Sleeping like a baby.
What about the ride home? You got children in here. You got children in here. Let's keep this set apart. You didn't get convicted. You couldn't sleep until it came out. But other than that, you was okay with it. This is what grace, saved by grace alone, gets you. This is the pulpit. This is your pastor.
Because in all seriousness, pretty much he would be dead according to the commandments. We would just kill him. So this is the point that you're saying, this grace and this Christianity, because like, if I'm wrong right here, what I'm about to say, then let me know. But when we go back to the kingdom, that law, he will be killed, it will be upheld. Am I correct? When we go back to the land,
those laws have not been nullified. Those laws still stand in Israel. Are you in Israel? Is Israel still standing? No. So that's when y'all keep all the laws. I'm not in my own land. I'm a captive. Right now, we're sitting here trying to feast, and you're being charged for your water. Did y'all know that? Well, my faucet ain't running. They calculating your water bill right now. So we're not in our own land, so no, we can't keep the laws of our land. But this, and to back up what Shemariah says, just so the point is made, he says, I called it, well, I knew it was wrong, but that's just where I was. Well, what make it wrong? Because I got this clip from a Christian channel. And this Christian channel, they're going in on them. But I posted it in the chat. I had to do it. I'm like, well, is homosexuality against the laws of Christ? But what did he do wrong? Because y'all say y'all don't need Mosaic law. Y'all say y'all follow the laws of Christ. I've been flipping this New Testament for months trying to find where the laws of Christ at. So I put in the chat, was homosexuality against the laws of Christ? It just passed right by that. Why y'all condemning this man if y'all saved by grace? What did he do against your Jesus? Because y'all don't have no law. Everything is grace. So why y'all ridiculing this man? Black Christians? Y'all sound goofy to me. Y'all sound retarded. Y'all got DDs and MAs and whatnot, and you sound retarded. Just listen to yourself. You're having hour shows about this Christian pastor, but you don't keep no law. It gets worse. Go ahead, Ox.
So
it gets worse.
One thing that I noticed when it comes to these types of situations, just like you say, because there is no law, essentially there are no repercussions. So in this case, they'll put it out there in the forefront, hey, this is what I did, but Christ said to forgive 77 times 7, that type thing. And because there are no repercussions, because they don't believe in the law, people will speak out. Some people will speak out, but they look at that as the judgment. Oh, well, he lost a couple dollars, he lost a couple church members, but he atoned for that. And he went through it, and now we gotta forget. It's so confusing. But if you execute judgment according to what the Most High says, hey, you confess this thing. Let's take you out to an unclean place. Like that. But that was pretty much because they don't have repercussions, which is why they can pretty much, it's almost like a slap in the face to us who's trying to walk in truth, because they are showboating saying, hey, we can do whatever we want to and we're gonna reap benefit. But they aren't looking at this thing. They're misleading people. They're misleading people.
There's no, I thought you were about to say it. There's no fear of Yah no more. When Moshe and them was coming out of Egypt and they had all those Egyptians, and there was more than Egyptians there. Egypt was that current metropolis, because Babylon was still flourishing, but Egypt was that place to be. Egypt was Vegas. So it was more than just Egyptians and us there. So when we was coming away from those people and they was getting set up, that brother, the Most High says, rest on the Sabbath, that brother was picking up sticks. Moses says, Father, what should we do? Father says, stone him to set the tone that they fear my word. You talking against Moses, the ground opened up and swallowed you up. You best believe they was on pins and needles for a while. But because you haven't seen the manifestations of Yah, you think he's a joke. You think he won't kill you. You think it's your alarm clock waking you up. You think it's Jesus that you praying to that's keeping you. Time is running out. These pulpits are it's houses of death. After y'all seen your hand up.
Yeah, the water. A couple of scriptures coming to mind. That Romans 6:1. You see there when Paul is saying, what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? And he's asking that question, and he's, you know, when you're reading that chapter, he's going to tell you, no, that's not even the case. You can't sin because you know grace is there, or whatever they believe grace is. But then when you also go in, also same book of Romans, you reverse and go to Romans 3:31, and he says, do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yeah, we established the law. So with these Christians, their faith is the grace, but they're making that grace and their version of faith abound over the law. And we know when we see in 1 John 3:4, whoever sins is transgression against the law. So their faith, their version of faith and their version of grace, their transgression against the law. That's not even done away with at all. So therefore, that's how they're going to get, end up being put to death, as you're saying, because they're playing around with this, not even know what grace actually is, not even knowing what faith actually is, and all the while believing the law is done away with just so they can sin.
Well said. Reading this text from a Greco-Roman perspective is going to kill you. Reading this text from the Greco-Roman perspective is going to kill you. This man on your screen, he's not a regular pastor. Y'all see the subtitle? Y'all see he's a doctor. He's a doctor. I'm going to take you to his bio when we're done. He's a doctor. He has DD, MA. He's educated according to them. He has a class on YouTube. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's called The Elephant in the Church, Homosexuality. The Elephant in the Church, Homosexuality and Christianity. Doctor here. This man's the doctor. Let's listen to him.
I want to start right there. Okay, so let's touch this. About a decade ago, I was tripping because, it started to become real, this whole idea of Christianity and homosexuality. Now, let's be clear. Queer people, gay people have always been a part of the Black church. It was just taboo to talk about it. What would you say?
Old school 80 church folks. I grew up in a Pentecostal church. Anybody grew up in a Pentecostal church? If you came in there fruity, you was talked about. The pastor pointed you out. If you got up trying to shout, sit down, you ain't saved. I respect those pastors I was up under. Or come up here, we praying that spirit out of you. Now it's just, as long as they giving, we all got something to work on. Sin is sin. This is what your grace doctrine has produced. This is the fruit of satanic grace doctrine. That's why I was in the church, because y'all ain't preaching no law. Maybe the last decade it's become real. More people have outed themselves, become openly gay. Even gay Christians have said, no, I don't see this as sin in many different contexts. Christianity, as you know, is not monolithic. There are places who are affirming, accepting. There are churches who say, not only do we accept it, we affirm it. We think it's perfectly fine. There are churches like the Word Church who are accepting and affirming in one sense, but very honest about the fact that we see biblical marriage as between a man and a woman. And we see, same gender lovemaking as sin. Don't bite your tongue. Say what it is. We see it as sin. But I don't necessarily see the people as totally sinful. We'll talk about that as we go. So I'm tripping, and I didn't know who to talk to about it. I really didn't. And something told me,
I need to talk to somebody who is scholarly and queer.
Did y'all hear that? Queen, you was sharp on the draw right there. This man is a doctor of divinity. MD, I'll take you to his little website. His accolades are there. Master of theology. And he has a gay problem. And he said, I need to talk to someone. And not only am I going to talk to someone, I'm going to go get a scholar that's gay. Who should he have talked to? It's in the book. You got all this education you don't pay for, and you got a gay problem overrunning your church, and you need to talk to someone. Let's go to the book before we go on. He wants to talk to someone. I'm gonna let this play.
You want my precept?
No, save them to the end. Load them up to. You got something? Save all y'all precepts to the end because y'all probably got some I got. Oh, okay. So he says, I need to talk to someone. I'm going to talk to someone scholarly and queer.
Yeah, because I wanted to sort of have a biblical backdrop. I wanted to argue what the text says biblically. What does biblical text say about it? But yet I wanted to talk to somebody who had, or who was literally living it out. So I call, after doing some research, I called Dr. Horace L. Griffin, who wrote, and it's right there on the screens, Their Own Receive Them Not, African-American lesbians and gays in Black churches. Their Own Receive Them Not. And I think that's a text that every believer who's serious about the heart of homosexuals should read. Their Own Receive Them Not. He was a professor then at a prominent university. So I call him, I search his number down, I make some calls, I find him, I catch him in his office. I'm like, Dr. Griffin, this is R.A. Vernon from Cleveland, the Word Church. I said, I'm calling you because I need to ask about what it is to be gay and Christian and a scholar. And I want to have a real theological talk about it. I said, now let me be clear. This is not some.
That's all we need. Did y'all even say, I want to have a real theological conversation about homosexuality? Did y'all hear that? Yeah. That's all we needed. This man is a doctor of divinity, a master of ministry, and you know how to set up churches. You got all this education, but you got a problem with homosexuality. And instead of praying and fasting, I'm going to call another scholar who happens to be queer. Can Satan cast out Satan?
Somebody agree with you. That's what it is.
I don't want to give up the tithes and offerings that these people are bringing in. That's it. So, Shaboya, bring out your precept, and then I just gotta. He wants to have a conversation. He wants to talk to someone. We're gonna talk to WORD OF YAH about this.
Mine is to the point that I mean, you don't have to rewind it, but he says, what did he say about the sinner, and they did not say the sinner is, since the sinner is not sinful and all that. It was a bunch of crap, right? Either way. But Psalms 5, me and Uriah have to deal with this a lot, or we have dealt with it a lot. And this one of them we go to. It says, verse 4, for thou art not an Elohim that have pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. Verse 5, the foolish shall not stand in thy sight. You hate all workers of iniquity. You shall destroy them that speak leasing. Yahweh will abhor or hate the bloody and deceitful man.
What text you reading from? What book chapter and verse is that?
Psalms 5, verse 4 through 6.
And the text you read say he hates sinners?
You hate all workers of iniquity.
What's iniquity?
Sin.
You need a doctorate to know what sin is? This man got all kind of accolades from their system, and he's confused about what to do with homosexuality. He needs to talk to someone scholarly. Are you kidding me? This is what satanic grace doctrine gets you. This is why your pastors, and I don't care what flavor it is, your storefront or your mega, they have no truth, they have no light, they're under the works of Satan. That's why tomorrow they're celebrating Santa Claus. Satan. Was it you, sis, or Chef? Chef, you got something up?
I was gonna bring out Isaiah 5 and start at verse 20.
Isaiah 5 and 20. Yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. I tried to use this to help my people earlier. Isaiah 5 and 20.
Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them, 21, woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. 22, woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine and men of strength to mingle strong drink. And I'm gonna read 2 more, 23 and 24, which justify the wicked for reward and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Therefore, as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be in rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of the Most High.
That was Isaiah 8 and 20 up.
No, it's 5
and 20.
Starting at 5 and 20, and I'm on verse 24. And despise the word of the Holy One of Yahshua.
So it says, woe to them who's calling good evil and evil good. That's what y'all doing with Christmas tomorrow. And then one verse you read says, those who are wise in their own eyes. Did y'all hear this man say, I want to talk to a scholar and who happens to be queer?
So what are you a scholar of?
Oh man, let's keep this.
When did you get your
Mariah?
I have two quick precepts. I highlighted this a few minutes ago, and I was just gonna hold my peace, but literally Shamaria brought the precept out. I didn't even think we would go here. The first precept is 2nd Ezra chapter 8. I'm starting at verse 45. 2nd Ezra chapter 8, verse 45. Just to get context.
Call out again, huh?
2nd Ezra 8, verse 45.
2nd Ezra 8 and 45.
You have it.
Wow.
Go ahead.
So Ezra said, be not wroth with us, but spare thy people, and have mercy upon thine own inheritance, for thou art merciful unto thy creature. Then answered he me and said, things present are for the present, and things to come for such as to be to come. For thou comest far short, that thou shouldest be able to love my creature more than I, but I have oftentimes drawn near unto you and unto it, but never to the unrighteous. Never to the unrighteous.
So I have never gotten close to the unrighteous. So how would an Israelite, how would a Hebrew define the unrighteous?
Lawless.
So if you're not keeping the law, the Most High never drew near to you. So the first pastor who got caught on an OnlyFans scandal, he says, I've been having bisexual tendencies anointed and all.
He was well, and from the beginning, he was an adulterer. He was married, so that was the first transgression.
Right.
And then so if they ain't following, if they have a question about homosexuality, they definitely shouldn't have a question about adultery. Adultery, that's part of the 10.
I'm gonna make this personal because I don't fear y'all. Y'all have no heaven or hell to put me, so I don't care what y'all think about. I ran from this because I know my flaws. You can put on fancy jewelry and little neckties and you can fool the people, but I knew what I was wrestling with. So that's why when even my drunk days, man, you sound like a preacher. Nah, I know a little bit. If you know you're struggling with something, why would you want to be in front? It's like those guys on YouTube, how to grow a big back. And you ain't got no big back. Well, you should put some lemon in your sweet potato pie. You ain't never bought no sweet potato pie to Big Mama's house. But you gonna tell me how to make mine? So if you this man said I've been struggling with bisexuality since I was a kid, but you thought it was cool to go ahead and be a pastor? Bro, sit there. You actually ain't got it. Sit down a little bit. Sit down. Get delivered. Get delivered. Are you gonna be a perfect man? You see it? We all got, but you ain't mastered the ABCs. You don't know if you're gonna use the women's room or the men's room, bro. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. It's like these people in your job, you're a supervisor, and you're confused about where you gotta use the bathroom. I'm really supposed to respect your thought pattern. You don't even know where you're supposed to sit down at. But now you supervise. You got mental issues. Right, would you finish up?
Just one more precept. Marry up to that last one. It's in Sirach chapter 12.
Sirach chapter 12. This is all because you're a satanic grace doctrine.
So what we're seeing is this Christian is looking for help, is he not? He's looking for counsel or help of some kind.
This pastor says, I wanted to get a handle on this, how to handle this homosexuality problem in my church. So I went to seek out a scholar and a queer, or who happens to be a queer.
Right. He's looking for guidance or help, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think somebody read earlier that I know it's in Barak or Baruch, and it was pretty much saying how you wouldn't be able to understand any of the Most High ways except you acknowledged and kept the law. Okay, so Sirach chapter 12, I'm starting at verse 3. Actually, verse 2. Do good to the godly man, and you shall find a recompense. And if not from him, yet from the Most High. There can no good come to him that is always occupied in evil, nor to him that giveth no alms. Give to the godly man, and help not a sinner. Do well unto him that is lowly, but give not to the ungodly. Hold back thy bread, and give it not unto him, lest he overmaster you thereby, or else thou shalt receive twice as much evil for all the good you shall have done unto him. Verse 6. For the Most High hated sinners, and will repay vengeance unto the ungodly, and keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. So he's preserving them just to destroy them.
And not only that, there's a proverb that marries this too. It says, and this is when I was like, when I first got saved, I was still in the streets, but I remember one day I'm saved, you know, and I'm gonna go back around my partners, and I'm gonna get them saved too. I'm gonna get them from smoking and drinking. And I went there on my day off, and I was so overwhelmed. It was so much smoke. I'm like, how am I gonna talk? I can't even see these jokers. And then I drove home feeling like a loser. Like, I'm thinking I'm gonna go with my boys, like, man, come to church, man, get saved. And then I came across the Proverbs, bad company corrupts good moral. So you got all this power, I'm gonna win them. No, bad company corrupts good morals. That's why we need to be together. While you're there, go over to, I got this one highlighted in mine. Sirach 14 is in mine, verse 17 in my book. Sirach 14, verse 17 in my edition.
All flesh wax and bone.
No, mine says, what fellowship hath the wolf? What fellowship hath the wolf? Okay, well, I'm sorry, Salaki, it's the end of 13. It's Sirach 13, verse 17.
Okay. What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb?
What are you doing going to ask a homosexual how to deal with homosexuality? Does that make sense? You don't spend all that tuition money, all those nights of studying, you got all these letters after your name, you gotta go ask a homosexual, how can I handle this problem? What fellowship have a wolf with a lamb, or what fellowship have light with darkness? I'm an alcoholic. You smell like Jack Daniels. I don't think I need to ask you how to get off alcohol. Did that make sense?
Yeah, I had that mark too.
So this man, a doctor, wants to help with homosexuality, and he's seeking counsel from a scholar that happens to be a homosexual. Can we go to Leviticus 18:5? And while you're going to Leviticus 18:5, hold that and go marry it with Galatians. Galatians chapter 3:11. You have those two, just say Shabbat. While you're going there, we're trying to win our Christian family and friends who may see this at a later date. You're sitting in those Sunday churches, you're respecting that man because he has all kind of accolades, good car, big church, been preaching, he got books, he's been in movies. Jason wrote Women That Are Loose about 30 years ago. Got a mega church, and you at P. Diddy's 53rd birthday party. Not only are you there, because if you was there working, I could see that. He's there trying to bless the food. You're there singing happy birthday.
Bless the food.
Not even bless. That's what I'm saying. If he was working, I can give him that. Well, he's just there trying to, be the Christ for them. You're there singing happy birthday. Galatians 3:11. Chef, you have something out?
I was just gonna touch on Psalms 1.
Bring it out.
Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the Torah of the Most High.
What seminaries you don't went to, Chef?
I want to read this for those that don't believe in that in the apocrypha and all the extra books. It's in your regular Bible.
It's KJV. I got my KJV.
I would skip down to 5. Therefore, the wicked shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Most High knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked shall perish.
This man got all these accolades, all this Greek education, and you going to seek a homosexual how to deal with homosexuality. And you're supposed to be the priest of the Most High. You're supposed to be working for God. And instead of going to God, I'm going to go to a homosexual.
Because he's not trying to be free. He just wants somebody to co-sign it.
Yeah, because he look a little rude
Well,
himself.
I cut it off, but he went and clarified. I told him, listen, this ain't no undercover plea. I'm just trying to think about my members. I'm very happily married. And I love my wife's hips. I love my wife's lips. So he gave that disclaimer. I just cut that part off. But these dudes today, listen, man.
All right, like I said,
Good point. And it's a plea because they're trying to figure out how to keep those members in their congregation, because that's the last of that's all they got left. We talked about this before, I think, I know the men, but we were saying, I think, the men's group thing, the masculine men are leaving the Christian church. They're not, because we don't put up with nonsense, and it's other issues in the church that it's just, and I always wonder, looking back at my family, my granddad, I believe the church was really like across the street. He wouldn't go. But grandma, that's who's in the church. Grandma going to church. And that's what we see now, that trickle down effect. The men are not in the church, it's the women and then the homosexual men that's in the church. Because like you said, even at the job, there are people who the women be egging them on, or lifting them up. And that's the same thing they do. How they let them sing in the church. You know what I mean? So it's just a mess, man.
That's another point. I'm sorry. That's another ploy of the Christian church. Soon they get in there and give them some office. Because we come from nothing. No one ever told you were special. No one ever told you that you're the son of David. So now I get you my church. Or you're going to be my usher. Or you're going to be my minister of music. Now I come from the projects. My dad's on dope. My mom's gone. Now in the church, I'm somebody. I don't care if Pastor, you ain't known me a month. And already I got a job.
Prestigious job.
Absolutely, you got your hand up out.
Oh yeah. The water. He didn't go to like you say, he didn't go to God for any consultation, but he went to somebody else that is highly disqualified. But all he had to do was go to Mark 10:6. And if anybody want to read that, Mark 10:6.
He's highly disqualified. After you say he's highly Mark 10:6.
That's what gave me a headache.
Mark 26, but from the beginning of the creation, all high made their male and female.
That's red letter out. That's red letter. How do you need all this education? How do you need all this counsel? And it's right here in black and white. From the beginning, he made male and female. He made them. And then, okay, you're supposed to be pastor, shepherd. You're supposed to be Moses. When Moses had an issue that he didn't have no written law for, what did Moses do? Stay right here. I'll be right back. I'm going to this mountain real quick. I'm going over here real quick. You're going to go call, you got a problem with sin because you said, this pastor, you said it was sin. You said we recognize it as sin. So you got a problem with sin and you get a grasp on it, you're going to go ask the sinner who's committing the same sin. So what about for that? Let's go to Leviticus 18:5. Leviticus 18:5. Shema. Leviticus 18:5. Read.
Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. Thank y'all. I am Yahweh.
Where have we read this before?
Every.
Galatians 3:11. Galatians 3:11. This is Paul, king of the gospel, who you think wrote the Bible, because that's all you read is Paul. Galatians 3:11. Bring it out.
But that no man is justified by the law in the sight of Allah. It is evident, for the just shall live by faith.
So the Christians think Paul was inventing that. Paul was just paraphrasing the law. Paul was just teaching them law. Did y'all see that parallel?
Can you go ahead and read 22?
Go ahead, Al.
And the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them.
You see how Paul is not for the immature? Paul is for the mature, those who are weaned from milk. Because now if you tell me, oh, the just shall live by faith, and you think Paul made that up, Paul was quoting Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2:4. Habakkuk said that the just shall live by faith. And it wasn't no Greco-Roman ideal of faith. It was the Hebrew Israelite context of Amanah. I'm living by what's been established for us. I'm living by what's been confirmed for us.
Just to give you an example.
Habakkuk 2:4.
Shamaria and I were talking about this last night. You know how you read it, and you learn something new, or it's something that just catch your eye. I have good meditation for 8 months. So when we're in the land, we know for 6 years we can till the ground and sow and breathe, gathering fruits and stuff. But the 7th year, we're to let the land rest. So Shamar was, just talking to me and how blown away he was at this. Shamar, you want to talk about it? It's like the faith.
I don't know what your point, you'll make the point, but what I was saying to him was, we just sometimes go over like what we came across or whatever and rereading, because you said, if you learn the Torah, nobody can lie to you. So, I try to do what I tell, our people with, Joyce, Samaria, Naraya, like, I tell them to read, I gotta keep reading. And reading it and listening to it, I was like, man, you know, in the Shabbat year, we can't plan anything. How do they live? Or what do they, eat off of? I had an idea, but then when I read it, and I was like blown away, because the 8th year, everything is being renewed. That's what the number 8 is for, like a rebirth almost, in a sense, or a renewal. So in the 6th year, the Most High said he's going to give you 3 times as much. So the 7th, 8th, and 9th, you eating off of the 6 years worth of food. The storehouse of the food that grew in the 6th year. And I was just like, the Most High's mercies. I was telling him, I'm like, see, he already knows the questions that we're gonna ask. Cause like in my head, I'm thinking what I just said. And like the next verse down, he's like, well, this is how you're gonna make it. And then he explains, and I'm like, who are we? He thinks of everything that we could even possibly consider.
But even if he didn't give us a double or triple portion in that 3rd year, we got 12 tribes. I got 3 sons. You got 1 son. Verse got 2 sons. And we all got a harvest. My family can't eat my whole harvest. So if we're being lawful and looking after our brothers, hey, I got some okra left over, or I got some corn left over. That's how he wanted us to be. It shouldn't be, well, I got a whole closet full of linen, and then you ain't worried about your brother down the street. You see him walking every day to the bus stop. Where you going? How far can I take you? You got your little car with your music playing. You got your little radio, and you only care about your brother walking in the rain. You see the sister struggling with her baby hey sis, how far you going? That's how far this grace doctrine has brought this. God bless me and my 4, no more. This is what this saved by grace has gotten us. And our Father asks us to do 10 little commandments, and I got y'all. Everything you can ask of, I got you. I remember I was somewhere, being somewhere at a restaurant, and I'm looking around the table, and the waiter popped up with the thing I was looking for. I'm like, he's paying attention. Your Father knows what you have need of before you ask. So why I'm going to see you down here struggling, and you've been keeping my commandments. You've been doing what I asked you to do. Now your pancreas got a little cancer. Why wouldn't I heal it? Son, that's light work.
So the main point I was alluding to, because a part of that command that Tamara was referencing to, the Most High says that we're going to eat to the full and have this 3 years surplus. We're not going to be rationing out and fasting to try to make it.
That's right.
Now, we have to have the faith that if we do this, the Most High is going to do his part and command the earth to grow in the course of resting that he commanded us to honor. But if we don't have the faith, will we try and plan, just like on the 7th day, that first Shabbat when Moshe was in the wilderness, people didn't believe, and they went out to try to gather in, and they didn't find them.
So hold on, because I ain't learned. I ain't been in no seminary school. You're saying that coming out of the wilderness, when they was getting the law, they didn't have faith. I thought the law didn't come with faith. You see how this textual criticism, this Christian dogma, the law wasn't of faith. Yes, it was. You got to believe what I'm telling you. If you keep this, I got you. You have to believe that. You have to know that's secure. Amanah. So these Christians, they learn seminary school and they don't know this from a Hebraic context. Now I'm saved by grace. The law wasn't of faith. Why did Most High get mad with them in the wilderness? He didn't believe. Can he provide a table in the wilderness? Kept asking. Let's bring this home. So Chef was in my notes earlier before that's just, once you know the text, no one can lie to you. None of us are special. We're taking the time to study, to read this text for ourselves. We're asking Abba to give us understanding, and he's answering our prayers. Church Live number 1083. I believe it's 83. I got 80 and 81 and 82 on Facebook. Church Live number 1083. All sin is sin. It doesn't matter what you do. Your sin no different than my sin. And Chef said it when we started. Some sin calls for death. So, Pastor, all sin ain't sin. Stop lying. Me lusting for a woman is not the same as you lusting for Paul. Do I need to say that again? Us men lusting for women is not the same as you lusting for Paul on OnlyFans. It's not the same. Sin is not sin. Let's give you some text. Let's give you some text. You want to send me to hell because I'm stealing, but you're fornicating with a man. And you think I deserve the same punishment for you because I stole? And you're fornicating with men. You think I'm going to give me the same punishment? Let's go to Leviticus. We're about done. I'm sorry, SELAH. Exodus chapter 20.
Oh, you do that.
Exodus chapter 20, we're going to start at verse 2. Exodus chapter 20, and we're going to read verses 2 to 10. And this is why our Christians are being duped with Christmas and all kind of saved by grace, because they're not reading what's written. They're relying on pastors to tell them what God really wants and what God really meant. And there's some people, see, you need to go to school to understand how to break the text down. All you need is a 3rd grade reading level to understand what's reading here, family. Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. Shema?
Shema.
Exodus chapter 20, and we're going to read verses 2 to 10. To prove all sin is not sin. All sin is not sin, or sins are not the same. Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. Read.
I am Yahweh, your Elohim, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other Elohims before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image.
So y'all know the language here, right? Y'all know this is the 10 Commandments, right? For the second time, because we open up with the 10 Commandments, right? Let's go over Exodus 20. I'm sorry, I wrote the wrong chapter here.
You mean Leviticus?
Yeah, calm. Leviticus, I wrote the wrong book. Leviticus chapter 20.
Is Leviticus chapter 20, and I mean, I don't know where you want to start, but I mean,
same verse. I think the verses are correct. It's just the wrong book. To show that all sin is not the same. That's Christian dogma. That's the lie of Satan. All sin is not the same. And in the book I have right here, it says penalties for sin is the subtitle of this chapter. Penalties for sin. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 2. Shema.
Shema.
Read.
Again, thou shalt say to the children of Yashar'Allah, whosoever he be of the children of Yashar'Allah, or of the strangers, or of the strangers.
So the strangers got to follow the same thing we're following. But did you call the strangers sons?
No.
Did you call the strangers children?
No.
We all read the same text? Just give me both.
Or of the strangers that sojourn in Yashar'Allah, that giveth any of his seed unto Moloch, he shall surely be put to death.
Say what?
He shall surely be put to death.
So if I give my son or my child, or it'd be your firstborn, it would be your son. If I give my child to be passed into the fire to Moloch, it's the death penalty. It's not the same as I committed a trespass and stealing, or I lied. It's not the same. Let's keep reading.
The people of the land shall stone him with stones, and I will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people,
right?
Because he hath given of his seed unto Moloch to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do any ways hide their eyes from the man,
they do what?
Hide their eyes from the man.
This is not our culture. You bragging to me how you done robbed this old lady and took her social security check. I'm supposed to give you daps? No, I'm going to tell the elders.
That's me in the what you say you're gonna do in the wilderness?
My working overtime trying to provide for his family, and his wife get lonely, and you gonna take advantage of that, and then he at work trying to be a good man, and you gonna go defile his wife? I'm supposed to give you pounds? No. You will get our whole nation killed. What are you doing? It's a good problem. I'm gonna get out your land. Keep reading.
And if the people of the land do anyways hide their eyes from the man when he giveth his seed unto Moloch and kill him not, then I will set my face against that man and against his family and will cut him off.
So if you know your pastor just confessed to have a homosexual act and you still say that's my pastor, you just turned your eyes on his sin. You just got your family killed because you love your pastor. Read that again.
Verse 4. And if the people of the land, if the people of the land do anyways hide their eyes from the man when he giveth his seed unto Moloch and kill him not, then I will set my face against that man and against his family and will cut him off, and all that go a whoring after him to commit whoredom with Moloch from among their people.
You can't hide sin from the Most. He sees it anyway. When did this happen later on when Joshua got us into Canaan? What happened to that man? Y'all remember the man? Joshua's like, Father, you embarrassed me in front of the nation. You said you was going to be with me.
Oh, sin in the camp.
And 2,000 men just killed us. Father says there's sin in the camp. Joshua says, bring everybody out. And the man finally confessed, yeah, I took some of the Babylonian garments and I got them hid in my tent. Joshua said, oh, brothers, go get it. Achan. Joshua says, go get it. The brothers come back. Joshua says, to an Israelite, to a Hebrew Israelite, to a black Hebrew Israelite, Joshua says, why have you troubled Israel? Now we're going to trouble you. Not only you, your brides too. And you little brainy-headed boys, you got your whole family killed because of why? The family didn't go report to Joshua. My wife can't hide with me. If I transgress, my wife, Father, I'm not with him. Because y'all know what happened with Ananias and Sapphira. Tell us if y'all sold the land for this. Yeah.
Fall out and die.
The thing that you carried your son, your husband is at the door.
That was one of my favorites.
You can't ride with sin. I'm not tongue kissing you while you tongue kissing Satan. Let's keep going, y'all. This is a culture. This is a lifestyle. It's not a game. You got people doing Christmas and all kinds. My pastor, yeah, well, we all sin too. And now these little, watch the kid. We got these little soft men. Well, I too sometimes think about men too, so I understand where you come from. What?
I disown you. We are no longer blood related.
That's what these men in church.
Won't know you.
This man just confessed that he had homosexual twins, and you a grown man. Well, yeah, sometimes I think about men too. I hate when I was going to the gym and these other people walk around like they bra.
They naked, right?
Like,
That's the old.
Just talk about it. I know we men, but you could cover up like, dude. Put a towel on. Just because you advertise, you trying to see who will take the bait. You here fishing. You ain't coming to work out. You ain't coming to work out. Look, you in the locker room over there, you was working out. That's who left in the church. This man just confessed to you, I was on OnlyFans with a man, and you ain't left the church. My pastor ain't perfect, but neither am I.
All right. I'm just gonna be a witness to what you just said. I was at Gold the other night, just got off work, and I'm sitting down about, I like to take a few minutes, get off my feet, to get my mind right before I go work out. And there's a little TV in there, and of course,
right.
So I'm in there just sitting down. I think I'm not talking. I
out of that. I was just looking at the TV, take my shoes off, about to put on my gym clothes. Next thing I know, a guy comes out, old white guy. And I'm saying that's what it was. The white guy comes out, he's got a towel on. And I immediately start praying. And literally, I'm just right here. Started walking out to me. Now, the day before, as soon as I walk in there, a man don't have no clothes. Going into his locker, getting his clothes, right? So I'm thinking to myself, you can straight walk through the shower like this.
No, this is Greek culture. Yeah, these locker rooms come from Greek culture.
So the guy comes up to me, and as soon as he comes up to me, I slide far out the way. This man has the nerve to say, "Oh no, you good? You ain't gotta move." What you mean? You gotta move? Take this whole towel off. So I took everything up, walk down.
This is what's going on in these churches, because you got people, oh, well, pastor just fell. I remember my auntie, me and Gina was just getting saved, shacking up saved. I don't know how that works. But me and Gina, you know, we get cleaned up. We try to go to church, you know. I didn't got out of jail yet, but we saved now, we Christians. And my uncle had the heart attack. My uncle had a heart attack, so we go see my uncle, and as we leave it, my aunt said, now she's one of those ones. She's doing the best she can. She's a real Christian. Like, she ain't no fake Christian. She's real with it. So I'm getting ready to watch Eddie Long. I'm like, Auntie, Eddie Long? I said, no. And we all have sinned and come short. I'm like, Auntie, I said, yeah, but I don't think I'm gonna follow him no more. Nah. He's still preaching good word. So the point we're bringing home, family, we don't gotta keep reading this. Chef said it when we just started. All sin is not the same. That's Christian dogma. I can't talk about you because you got sin. And then they want to use what Messiah says about you got a speck in your eye and you trying to catch the beam. That's not the same. That's not the same. You're taking it out of context. If I'm stealing and you're fornicating, there's different penalties. The Most High requires different sacrifices, and then some sin, there is no sacrifice.
Not die for homosexuality. He did not die for
witchcraft. Because I was going to take y'all. If you're a witch, your mother's a witch. You go in your mom's house and she got an idol. She is to be burnt.
Y'all and I just talked about that. Well, just even to your point, if we stay along the same lines, if you have speck in your eye, he's talking about wood. Don't compare apples and oranges. He's comparing apples to apples.
I can't talk about you, Chef, for eating pork, and I still got pepperoni pizza in my. Now, as far as women hopping, oh, I conquered that. Let me tell you how I did. Or I can help you with women, but I can't talk about your swine because you got pork chops. And I'm better than you because I got pepperoni. That's what Messiah was talking about.
You just marinated.
I ain't eating pork. Mine is marinated fat back. You got a whole swine over there. This is that Christian dogma they hit us with. Because you don't know the culture. You think Messiah telling us, I can't judge you. I can tell you're gonna get us all killed. You're stealing. You're stealing from that brother. So we don't gotta go through all these verses. The point being, like Chef said, all sin is not the same, and you Christians would know it if you read the book. Certain sins cause for death. And certain sins, Father says, you stole from Zamariah, pay him 4 times what you stole from him. So if these Christians would take the time to read the Bible for themselves, they would see this doctrine of saved by grace and all sin is sin is not in the book. But let's end here because this doctor of divinity, he wants help with homosexuality. And instead of going to the Father or going to the Word in the best condition we have it, he goes to another homosexual. So let's see if we can give him some help. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 20, and let's drop down to verse 13. And you ain't have to go deep in the book. It's right here in the first. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13. Shema. Read that out.
If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination.
So this whole chapter 20 is pretty much death penalties. If you commit these things, I would say, I don't want nothing to do with you. Kill him. If you don't kill him, I'm killing your family. Chef, would you want little Renee stoned to death?
I told Renee she get stoned based on his word. They acted right.
That's what the book says. Hey, we are full book body. We are full book body make the body rocket.
Y'all already
line them up. Listen, if we had taught our children like that, you think these kids would be talking back like they doing? Shut up, mom. What?
And they would have
Shut up, mom.
at least one example of somebody getting stoned, you know, down in front of the elders. And that's it.
You see your brother get that goosebump on his eye. Like, what happened to you?
Some people, I'm like, you're not dead. I'm always like, how are you not dead? Oh, wait.
This happened to us because we fell and missed it. But I'm really trying to reach the Christians who have a mind to hear. Some of them are listening, even though they don't want to admit they're listening to us. But you're so attached, you're so indoctrinated because your pastor got these accolades. But you got a high school diploma, you got a master's degree too. And all you got to do is read the text. How can you tell me sin is sin? Well, one sin you get death, and the other sin just replace what you stole. So somebody gets Sirach 4:28 for us. And we'll give you one last example just so the point is made. Let's go over to Leviticus 22:1 to show the contrast. Somebody get Leviticus 22:1. Somebody get Sirach 4:28. We're going to end with Sirach 4. We're trying to make this fun. We're trying to make this entertaining so people can have something that they can grasp to, but it's no laughing matter what you're doing in your church houses. It's no laughing matter to my pastor's a homosexual, but man, listen, I got things wrong with me. I ain't got homosexual wrong with me. I got that mastered. I definitely know. I know what bathroom I'm going into. So listen, it's not the same. Exodus 22 and Leviticus 22:1. You got that?
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, keep going. Speak unto Aharon and to his sons that they separate themselves from the holy things of the children of Yashar'Allah, and that they profane not my holy name in those things which they hallow unto me. So I am Yahweh.
You're supposed to, this is for the priests, Aaron's sons. The reason why I pulled this because you pastors are supposed to be the priests for us. You pastors are supposed to be telling us what's holy and what's not. But y'all can't tell us what's holy and what's not because y'all doing saved by grace alone. So you don't even know what's holy. So now you got these pastors getting caught up in OnlyFans. And what's the saddest part about this? This what y'all calling this sex performer, he didn't entice you. You went looking for him. Because the boy caught back at the pastor. Because the pastor lied after he got caught. The pastor lied and says, oh, he blocked me when I tried to contact him and ask him why he's doing this. The dude clapped back and says, I wasn't going to do this, but now since he's lying, let me tell my side. The boy, I listened to the boy. He's an Israelite, lost. He says, listen, he was in my DMs. Y'all young folks know what that is. Like, tell me what the old folks, what was the DMs? So the young boy says, I didn't even know he was a pastor. He slid in my DMs. So this boy didn't even entice you. You went looking for sin. You went looking for sin. And then you didn't even have the fear of God to break down a crowd when you got home to your wife. Like, you look at your wife who done carried your children, who done made your house a home. You didn't even have the respect to break down like,
You don't love her. You don't love her.
what man would do that to a woman? You about to pastor to give her HIV. That's your Christian church.
Devil.
That's your Christian church. Speaking in tongues, back flip on. That's what y'all got going on. And y'all got Christ.
Even his sons, I mean, you think about what ramifications that have.
Because y'all know our people's is hard. Jesus tell you, the females crack on each other. You know what his brother's going to do. You know our kids have no chill. I seen your dad. I seen your dad on OnlyFans.
The kids, yeah. The kids are the worst. The
So
kids
you
are the
didn't-
worst.
Okay, you're struggling with homosexuality. And the reason why I give you no pass is because we all are struggling with demons that we picked up in Babylon. All this, I got dipped in the water, it came out, my hands looked new, looked at my feet, and they was too. It's lies. That's lies. You've been bed hopping for 20 years, and now you finally gonna give the Most High your last good 10 years. You think all that stuff is gone? No. No. All those faces, all those bodies you got, they still with you. They're not gonna get fast out in no year or two. Them demons are still with you. So just like you got homosexuality in you, you could have kept fighting, kept crying to the people, crying out. Sit your behind down. But no, because of your pride, I'm gonna keep preaching. Now you come out and get outed and you still preaching. Coaching.
They try to justify it and make it right, make it okay in that community, in that setting, so he can keep his role and keep his lifestyle going. It's like,
oh, you mean money?
Yeah, and not once did he say, I apologize to my wife. It was no regret, remorse, or anything in that. So what's the perspective of the wife?
I didn't see any videos about his wife yet.
Better be. I need to know.
But now you're a Christian, like, should the wife leave them? Is this adultery? Y'all are stupid. Y'all are dumb because you have no law. You asking questions about this. Should she leave them? You could possibly give me HIV. My 3 boys may be traumatized now. They may grow up and be homosexual. So family, I just thought this would be something light, but it's not light. I wanted us to come fellowship, have a good time, but we may be in our last days. Russia is ready to kill America at the drop of a dime right now. Your internet may be turned off tonight. This may be our last chance to reach people. Tomorrow they're gonna be in their churches with Christmas trees. I see this one brother I built with on Facebook. Not only one Christmas tree, he got 3 Christmas trees behind him. Think he preaching. I'm like, what? I said, bro, is that Trinity trees right there? He said, is that all you heard? I said, boy, be honest with you, I tried to listen to you. I said, but once you went to Romans and you didn't know in the context, I said, I couldn't listen to that Jesuit doctor no more. I appreciate you trying.
We got artists making ornaments for trees and putting scripture on it.
Yeah, I seen that.
You in the same boat, bro?
Yeah. I didn't understand the context. Then what was going on?
They're making ornaments to give and help put on trees. They put scripture on.
I didn't catch that. I didn't know that part. I thought he was going and passing it out to the people. Oh, I didn't read the whole thing. I'm doing like my wife. I'm doing like my wife do. I'm skimming the posts.
They going to the church to give to the people. You in the same boat, bro?
I didn't even know that shit.
This stranger to be in their house. He be go watching you. He knows everything about you. If he's gonna come in your house, what about the people that ain't got a chip? Who you gonna live in?
Fables.
Who you gonna live in?
Grown people.
Don't finish
fables. That's
ain't gonna get cold.
Paul was talking to. Paul is your man. Paul was talking to them. Y'all believing in fables. have you itching, and you're a pastor, and you dressing up as Santa Claus. We can keep going for hours. Let's close out, family, with Sirach or Ecclesiasticus. Did we miss anybody online? I don't want to miss.
My computer died.
No, I don't see anything.
All right. Let's close out with Sirach 4:28. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 4:28. Read.
Strive for the truth unto death.
Until when?
Unto death. And Yahweh shall fight for thee.
And who shall fight for you?
Yahweh shall fight for thee.
If you're, did it say be perfect in the Greco-Roman sense? It says strive for the truth. What is the truth?
The law.
Unto death. And Yahweh, that marries what Marianne brought out in 1 Peter. Didn't he say that? If you do good, the Most High will fight for you. You see how these texts marry one another? Strive for the truth, the law, unto death, and I will fight for you. So to all my brothers out there, sisters too, if you're struggling with homosexuality, no, we won't shun you, because this is when the maturity comes in. And this is why I thank the Most High and my wife for helping me mature over the years. But yes, we have Torah law. If we were home, we would stone you to death if you were a homosexual. But all of us grew up in Babylon. How many of y'all knew you shouldn't eat pork? We didn't know that, right? So a lot of our brothers and sisters who are fell into homosexuality, they wasn't raised in the law. Maybe if their parents knew they were Israel and taught them the law, and those homosexual spirits started bothering them, maybe they would have fought harder, or maybe they would have had some scripture, some real spirit to fight that spirit. But being that we've been lost, our brothers and sisters don't have no weapons to fight that spirit. And now because society has put it in movies, and now pastors are coming out, they have no weaponry against that spirit. So us being light, let's have mercy and compassion and let them know, no, you still, because because we're ignorant, Messiah is not going to kill you right now. But time is running out. Time is running out. The reason why, the perfect example, because I hate to lecture without giving y'all some text or context. Brothers want to run to King David and Bathsheba. And you have the Kemetic people who say, y'all Bible is contradicting itself, because right here, you're supposed to be stoned for adultery, but then y'all King David, who y'all brag about, him and Bathsheba, what happened? And you have to keep it in context. It says the Levites failed their job. So David's generation, they didn't know how they were supposed to be living. Now, David and them had a temple and they had the language. Now, fast forward to us over here in America, going through the buck-breaking farms that you put on us. So that spirit of homosexuality may have been passed down from grandpa. And grandpa may have suppressed it for a couple years, but maybe that spirit kicked up in the next generation. So have compassion and mercy on these brothers and sisters, but tell them the truth. Today is the day that you repent for your sins. Because whether you're a man or a woman, pastor or deacon, our hour is nigh. If you get caught in your sins, you will die in your sins. With that, I yield. Open the floor for questions, comments.